Welcome, everyone, to episode 555 of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 31st of March, 2026. I guess that's the 4th of April. Sorry, sorry, Asian countries. To the categories of life, actually kind of fitting now that I say that out loud, written by Jane Espenson and starring John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness, Eve Miles as Gwen Cooper, Kai Owen as Reese Williams, Mackay Pfeiffer as Rex Matheson, and Alex Havens as Esther Drummond. I am Bill Sylvia, the one in black, and I'm realizing just how sweet Domino's sauce is after coming back to it after having been away from it for a while. With me are Alex Fyrehart.
Hello.
And Aaron RomeoMoon Burke.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. That's been happening a lot lately. Like, I'll go to talk and, like, apparently it doesn't catch me saying hello on any of the podcasts I've been doing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe Discord sensitivity is a bit low.
Hmm.
But how's everybody's weeks been?
Pretty good. So far.
Yeah.
I mean, the only real notable thing I can think of is that I finally, on this Thursday gone, finally, not like fully because I haven't handed in like an actual official thing, but I've given sort of a verbal notice of intention to leave
Okay.
work. With the idea that whatever financial support I would be able to get from the government, I guess, technically through a thing, I would likely get jack all or nothing, considering like if I'm still working. So it's a matter of I'll be sorting that out so it's ready to go, and then
Gotcha.
doing that. And even then, I've also got my long service leave and looked at how much money's in that and gone, oh, I could probably live off that for a while as well.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
because I'm pretty sure, like, the way I remember looking at it is I could take it out or have them dole it out to me, like, a bit at a time. So, because if I took it all out at once, I'd only get so much of it because they would be taxing it. So yeah, it's like, oh, so there you go. I've got options, kind of. But it's like, yeah, the job's getting, like, especially, like, the more I've become aware of being autistic, the more working there, even for, like, 4-hour shifts, is getting a bit much. So it's like, yeah, maybe I should probably finally get out. Like, I've been meaning to talk to the supervisor that I mentioned it to for months. But yeah, like at this point, it's just a matter of like, I've basically said that like at the absolute latest, I'll be leaving by like effectively end of June because I figured, well, end of financial year, so that works.
Gotcha. Anything in your 4 weeks, Aaron?
My 4 weeks, let me see here. I've been playing off and on. I've been playing Crimson Desert. I would like to play more of that game. Mostly because I've managed to wrangle the control system a little bit. It's actually easier to ride a horse in that. Either that or I'm just used to terrible driving controls in games. So, but I found it really easy to ride a horse in that game. So, yeah. Let me see. There's that. I've been hooked on TikTok, so I've been watching Legends of Advantris clips again. I got hooked on those super short dramas, so that they advertise on there. Like I don't know, like Alpha missing his long lost Luna and other BS like that. But they're cheesy, but they're fun. But also be very aware that some of those apps, you can't. It's you can remove them and stuff, but it might be hard to get off of their subscription list. So I had to write to help desk for one of them. They did, remove my subscriptions. That's nice. What else? I'm trying.
It's nice that they stopped yanking me for my money
Yeah, it's
instead
nice
of
that
just
they.
taking my money without my consent.
I know it's nice that they told me to go to unsubscribe from the list on my Google playlist, and then their app doesn't show up on that list. So then I have to
No.
write to them and ask them, hey, you said I should go here, but you're not showing up. And then they complain about how their help desk is swamped with complaints. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. The problem is that unfortunately that's one of the apps that had some of the better shows on it, so which really sucks. But let me see here. I'm also working on a short TikTok series, or a TikTok series of shorts featuring my VTuber models, or at least one of them. So I need to get that up and going. I got some character designs worked out already, so but I just need to have them actually animated and then uploaded. So, and then probably also edited and music added and special effects and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. I got a few irons in the fire, along with decluttering my apartment and getting rid of all the crap that I rescued from my parents' place, and getting ready to possibly move in the future, move in with my boyfriend Chris. So, yep, a lot of stuff going on. How about you, Bill?
Um, I don't have much especially of interest recently. I'm more yeah, I've been watching like, shorts and such and been like, "Hey, I kind of want to play Pocopia, but if I do, I might sink so much time into it that I would drop out of grad school." So that would probably be a bad thing because that's how I pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, nothing especially of interest that I can think of recently. Um, yeah, same thing. I've been trying to find time to declutter my apartment and such. Uh, but yeah, spring semester, of course, is also conference season, so it's not like I have a wealth of free time.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that's about the most interesting thing I have to say about the past 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Which I guess means we move. Oh, I'm looking for a window on the right that's on the left. All right. On tonight's show, we have our birthdays and news as usual. A bit of not much news, but some. Then we have our episode review, final thoughts, and ratings. So on to Alex with the birthdays.
Okay, on the 22nd of March, we have Mary Tam, who played Romana Varatralunda the first. Haha, I actually got it right this time. I didn't trip up. Even though only Romana was put there, I was like, fuck it, let's give
Right.
the full name. Um, in season 16, aka the Key to Time plot, plus work for Big Finish. Would have been 76, but died in 2012 at the age of 62. On the 23rd of March, we have Joanna Page, who played Elizabeth I in Day of the Doctor, turned 48. On the 25th of March, we have Patrick Troughton, who played the second Doctor from 66 to 69. Would have been 106, but died in 1987 at the age of 67. On the 26th of March, we have Barry Letts, who was a Doctor Who producer from 69 to 74, and writer from 68 to 75. Would have been 101, but died in 2009 at the age of 84. On the 28th of March, we have Gareth David Lloyd, who played Yanto Jones in Torchwood Series 1 to 3, plus worked for Big Finish, turned 45. On the 1st of April, we have Sydney Newman, who was the head of BBC, was the BBC head of drama that commissioned Doctor Who originally. Would have been 109, but died in 97 at the age of 80. Also on the 1st of April, we have John Scott Martin, who was a Dalek operator from 65 to 88. Would have been 100, but died in 2009 at the age of 82. On the 2nd of April, we have Robert Holmes, who was the script editor of Doctor Who between 75 and 77, and a writer in general from 69 to 86. Would have been 100, but
69 today.
Would have been 100, but died in 1986 at the age of 60. On the 3rd of April, we have Peter Howell, who was a composer from 80 to 85 and also for Canine and Company, turned 78. And finally, also on the 3rd of April, we have Peter Hawkins, who was a Dalek and Cyberman voice from 63 to 68. Would have been 100.
Original Nick Briggs.
Would have been 102, but died in 2006 at the age of 82. So happy birthday to Mary, Joanna, Patrick, Barry, Gareth, Sydney, John, Robert, and both Peters.
Moving from there, we move on to episode news. This is an addendum to last week's news. So in last week, we announced that that episodes 1 and 3 of the Daleks Master Plan had been found, and the BBC restored to them, or whatever that process specifically is. Now we have the news that, in fact, the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel, which is a channel owned and run by the BBC, has uploaded those episodes. So if we were wondering, how will people get to view them? Will people ever get to view them? This is how. So it doesn't have the whole story. You need to have the other 10 episodes in some legal way in order to watch the whole story. But episodes 1 and 3 are now easy to access for anybody looking for just those episodes. Assuming that it's available in all countries, which YouTube is more and more doing these days, so I'm assuming it would be. And then our other piece of news, also a small one, and let me actually open this because it's basically a small quote, and then whatever the rest of the article is Cultbox comparing it to other things and analyzing it. But at the recent C2E2 convention in Chicago, which now that I'm close to Chicago, I should probably start subscribe to news about that because I never hear anything about it.
It's actually a fun convention.
Oh.
I've been there once.
Nice. But someone asked him if he would ever reprise his role as, as the Doctor, as people are wont to do. And the specific quote, since it's a short quote, I'll say, he said, "Here's the thing. Doctor Who's written for boys. There has never been a female showrunner of Doctor Who. So my dream is this. There was a little girl who was, 6, 7, 8 in 2005 when my series went out, and she gets the job, and she asked me back. I'd go back like a shot." So that is, and, I don't necessarily know that it's his... necessarily his strict condition rather than just something that would make him more likely to want to go. He has said in the past that his condition was and this was as of 3 years ago now, sack RTD, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back. So
and I think he's even said that prior to then, but it was very much because I feel like he's done it, but I think it's there's more
not
footage
quite so
now of him.
I think.
Yeah, probably also a matter of there's footage now because he's doing public appearances again. related to Doctor Who and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
especially like he's just done he's done several seasons of the audios now,
yeah.
so it's on people's mind.
Mm,
And of course, RTD is connected with Doctor Who again, so he has more
yeah.
reason to be vocal about it. Which I
Right.
don't think we have any vocal about like what specifically went down between them, other than him considering it a hostile work
Mm,
environment and his
yeah.
coworkers seemingly being fine with it. So
Yeah. Like
it's really hard to speculate.
yeah. Like I think the implication with him not coming back for the 50th was more like it was probably still kind of a raw wound
Mm-hmm.
at the time then compared to now. Whereas now he's like, oh, it's basically just because the crew that were there when I was are back in
Yeah,
charge.
but
Um, but are
it's
also on the
really
way out,
interesting
probably.
that
So,
he has such strong feelings about them. He does not
mm.
seem to have strong feelings about Billy Piper, um, who did not
Well,
seem
yeah,
to, at least not as loudly, have any problems with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was
yeah,
going to
like,
say Jack Barrowman, but I think he may have had some things to say
mm.
about Jack Barrowman, because
And to be,
everyone seems to have had
yeah,
negative things to say about being
yeah.
on set with John Barrowman.
Because yeah, I think it was mostly. I don't even necessarily think it was things that, and you to that end, if you take in the shit that John Barrowman was getting away with on set, it might be even less a matter of things that Russell and all the producers were doing, and more things that they weren't
That makes sense.
doing,
That makes
like
sense.
not reining in like his behavior
Yeah, I could see
and
that.
stuff like that. Is more might would have irked him. Um, in some cases, sort of you guys are in charge. How are you letting this
Yeah,
fly?
yeah, that makes sense.
Um, so because yeah, like yeah, I feel like in interviews he's been like, no, I had no problem with a lot of the actors I work with. I had no problem with Billy because like at least in one of these clips where someone's asked him, Billy is sitting like right next to him,
Yeah, and
and
I mean, and we now know that it was right after she had been asked to return, or possibly even just filmed secret scenes.
mm,
Um, but yeah, like so, like for instance, with the reason even mentioned Billy and such, like with the Whedon
yeah,
situation, everybody was, there was all these questions of like who
mm,
knew what and when did they know it, and pretty much everyone either made a statement or is looked at extremely suspiciously by the fan base. So like
yeah,
we don't know all of I'm not at all
mm,
saying RTD is as bad as Whedon, because if he was, we probably would have had a lot more to say about it over the
right,
Mm-hmm.
years. But we really
yeah,
don't know the exact details of their beef. So it makes me wonder, like,
mm,
Billy Piper doesn't seem to be forced to choose a side, and everybody seems
mm,
okay with that. Are they okay with that?
yeah, mm,
Hmm.
like. Yeah, I think it's a matter of. That's why I think it, in my mind, it leans more possibly to Eccleston being like, "Why are you letting this behavior happen on your watch?" Kind of a vibe to it. Um, whereas now he doesn't need to worry about whether or not um uh wow, even John Barrowman comes back or not because he ain't
Yeah,
likely ever.
Hmm.
Because, and the funny thing is, I still think with that, just really quick, I still believe that if Barrowman had just kept his head down and like shut up,
yeah,
he probably, the BBC, because they are the BBC, probably would have been like, hey, just shut up for a little while, let this blow over, and then we'll bring you back later.
right.
Hmm.
But then he went off at them, and so they're basically gone, okay, fuck you.
I didn't realize that he had actually snapped back at him. I didn't. I. It's
Hmm.
been maybe
I
because it's been
I
so
remember,
long.
yeah, like I remember that coming up when I remember like suggesting this kind of thing was like if he keeps his head down, they'll probably bring him back, and then someone else mentioned no, he went off on a rant at them, so it was like oh,
Yes. So the part that I remember, there was the original incident, which got him basically like chastised, but nothing ever really came of it.
Was this
He
sexual
apologized for
harassment
it
or
at the
something?
time. Sexual, like, so he argues it wasn't sexual harassment because it was things like, you know, someone's walking around on set and all of a sudden there's a new John Barrowman there. You know, they're taking a set photo and all of a sudden there's a penis on your shoulder. That's Camille Koduri, I think, specifically mentioned that happening.
Oh,
So like he's like, it wasn't sexual. It had nothing to, I'm a gay man. It was never for a sexual purpose. At least by American, and I'm pretty sure by English law as well, it's still sexual harassment because you're involving
Right, yeah. Especially because,
sex
like,
related issues.
yeah, because, like, even if the actors are fine with it, you're also whipping your dick out in front of a bunch of crew as well.
Yeah,
And they might not be okay with that.
right.
So,
yeah.
So like in any other profession, he definitely would have had sexual harassment. He'd be on a list.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like a known thing because he would joke about it. Other people who were involved at that time would joke about it. But that went. I must have been living under a rock in relative respect to that because it only came to my attention after, like, what's his name was like, hey, but he was doing that, so to like redirect.
Oh, the guy who
Yeah,
played.
so it's like he.
Was it the guy who played Mickey kind of threw John Barrowman under the bus or something?
Noel Clark was like, oh, you're all giving me shit. What about him who was doing this for years?
Which is interesting because he's actually accused of things that are unquestionably sexual assault, whereas Barrowman, has he wasn't he's like he wasn't a Weinstein or I think it was Louis C.K. was the one. For him, it seems like it wasn't for sexual gratification. Although, honestly, if you get that naked that often after apologizing and being told to stop, it does come off as still being sexual, even if it's, not based on attraction to the other person.
I think, I think even, like, the idea seems to be that when he stopped that is after he started doing it on things like the set of, like, Arrow, maybe?
Yeah, so
and
that's
people
farther
being
ahead
like,
than I was
hey,
getting.
can you not?
So he did that there. He was chastised for it and apologized, and it didn't get spread any further. So like people on Doctor Who message boards at the time might have known about it, but not the rest of us. Then it kind of came out that maybe he seemed to have been doing some stuff like that on the CW shows or something, even after he had promised to never do it again to the BBC. Noel Clark might have had something to do with it because it kind of became public again. And the BBC were like, yeah, if he's still doing this after he promised not to, we really can't tolerate this. And then they kind of wiped him from everything upcoming. And then he went on a Twitter rant like, fuck the BBC, all of this. Basically burning any bridges that were left.
That's a shame because I actually like the character of Jack Harkness, and I liked John Barrowman as that character. So,
I mean, it seems from every other respect like he's been decent to work with, but also like he, when you see someone who's going off on Twitter tirades like that, it's also hard. It's much easier to imagine. Oh, maybe he was just a dick that was really good at hiding it from the public. We don't know.
Yeah,
right.
That could definitely.
Not that he was good at hiding his dick, but I heard myself say it and I had to respond. So yeah, that we spent longer on that than I had actually intended to, because we kind of went into the history of Chris Eccleston and John Barrowman, for that matter. Our last two pieces of news, these are our big Finnish release news. On March 30th, they released Torchwood Curtain, written by David Llewellyn, starring Robert Bathurst or Bathurst. I want to say Bathurst, but no, I have a feeling it's Bathurst. And Sarah Douglas as characters I don't recognize, but also featuring Colin Ryan as Billis Manger. So, seems we're maybe getting to the end of Billis Manger stories.
All I'll say is, in terms of how to pronounce that name, is Australia does have a I guess it would count as like a city, but like a regional city called Bathurst. So I've always said
Oh,
it that
okay.
way.
Got you. And you know, I mean, knowing the English, they could be descended from the same person, the city and the actor.
I thought Bathurst was an English city.
It could
Unless
be.
unless there's also an English
I
Bathurst as
mean,
well as an Australian
well, I
one.
mean, well, yeah. I mean, there's like a little town called Texas somewhere in Australia. So, and there's a capital city here called Brisbane. There's cities in the US called Brisbane. There's Sydney here. There's Sydney's
There's
over
a
there.
Bathurst in Canada, I think. I think that's what Google is telling me. But there's none in the USA. Yep. Oh yeah. So it
Yeah.
isn't. So there's one in New Brunswick, Canada, New South Wales, Australia. Uh, if there's one in England, Google is not immediately identifying it. But there is none in the United States, as far as Google knows.
Might just be that that's where the name comes from anyway.
Right.
Given colonizing.
Yep. But yeah, I figured most of the time you have like Australia and the US naming things after English cities. So
Right.
oh yeah. And then on April 2nd, already did that joke. April 2nd, Rutans versus Centaurans, Betrayal at the House of Santar, written by John Dorney, starring Joe Martin as the Doctor. And I don't think I've mentioned this, but I think the idea of like finally doing like the Rutan Centauran War and having the fugitive Doctor involved is kind of a stroke of genius, because we never actually touched on the war on screen. It was always something that we knew happened in the background. So bringing in the Doctor, that, you know, so having that be a fugitive Doctor story is kind of genius to get people who want to know more, you know, people who are already interested in classic Who lore to also be listening to the fugitive Doctor.
Yeah, I agree. All of that is kind of intriguing. I would love to. Personally, I kind of have been wanting to check out more adventures by the fugitive Doctor. So.
And it also probably fits to do it better in audio, given the. I don't know how you'd make the Rutans versus the Sontarans really work on screen. Given the Rutans are just like little floating orbs.
aren't they shapeshifters?
I thought they were like brain-like things that could like control dead bodies or something.
Possibly. It's been a while since I've watched Horror Fang Rock.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Either way, it could be potentially awkward to portray on screen. So audio probably works better for it.
In their natural forms, the Rutans were amoeba-like, with green glowing body and many light green tendrils.
So jellyfish.
Rutans were formidable fighters. Even when they did not have weapons, they could absorb biolethal. Okay, that has nothing to do with what their actual body is. That's more just their abilities. Some Rutans could lose control of their forms, only able to become elemental forces such as fire and water. Did I skip the part where they talked about their forms?
I mean, it sounds like they basically just are the little floating jellyfish.
Yeah, but then what would losing control
Yeah, because I thought the fourth
mean?
Doctor made fun of them as jellyfish.
They could speak by forming vocal. So I think it's like it sounds from this like they're shapeshifters, but not in the like sense of, you know, the Zam Wessel sense. Like they can turn into a human, but they could like grow vocal cords. They could like shape themselves. You know, they could maybe like, you know, they could move around outside of water despite looking like they lived in water. So it'd be almost like
do you guys...
maybe like a slime creature type.
Actually,
type
here, I found an image of one. Yeah, let me just paste that right there. There you go.
Oh, I'm here looking at the Twitch window, and you're pasting it in Discord. Yeah, that's the. So I think that's what it like that. It's not like it's like that they could grow things like within that form. But I still don't understand how they'd be able to become fire and water if that were the case. But of course, that only happened in audio.
I mean, I think that's possibly how the Rutens like how he defeats that Ruten in Horror Fang Rock. Maybe is he like causes it to lose control of its form and explode, and that just kills it.
The Fourth Doctor story, Horror of Fang Rock, established what the Rutens actually looked like and introduced their shape-changing ability. Interestingly, the Rutens have not to date actually appeared in a television story alongside the Centaurans. We knew that. So they do mention in so they mention in Horror of Fang Rock that Rutens can shapeshift. In some other in the reference book, they're referred to as shapeshifting goblins. Oh, they're saying no. Never mind. There was a race of shapeshifting goblins that appeared in a what is this, a novel? Yeah, in a novel, and they're made in the reference books to be a race descended from a union between a Centauran and a Rutan.
Okay, so seemingly what I can gather is that in that story, it maybe like
By that
kills
story, you're
and
talking
takes
about
the
Horror of Fang Rock, or
yeah horror Fang Rock. Yeah, I think it's like it kills someone and takes their form, or it like has like kills them and takes over their corpse.
Yeah, because, like, I remember
So
they're
they're like
definitely,
glowing
like,
green.
walking corpses, because, like, they're walking around and people are like, oh, where's so-and-so's body, or is it that
I'll
they...
have to rewatch. I haven't watched that in a while.
God, I
so
can't
yeah,
remember if they come upon a
put
dead
a thing
body.
in the I put a thing in the Discord chat. The podcast chat, I mean.
Yeah.
Where it's just basically one of the actors glowing green.
On that note, so yeah, that's the end of our news. I need to take a quick bio break. You can either start the 5-minute summary without me, or you can keep talking about Rutens.
Who is doing the summary today?
Seemingly it's your turn, Aaron.
Oh, okay. I was afraid of that. I'm going to miss so many things. I'm sorry, everybody.
If I'd realized ahead of time, I probably would have pre-warned you.
Well, I will do my best. Do you want to do the summary now, or wait for Bill to get back? Maybe we should wait for Bill to get back. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if you want to use that time to gather your thoughts for a for a summary.
I'm trying desperately to think about what happens in this in this episode, because it's a lot of it's not as action packed as the last one.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, last time I left it so last minute to write up a summary like I usually do that I just kind of ad-libbed and used I think I used the wiki summary as a like the Wikipedia summary as like a guide and just kind of ad-libbed along with using that as a thing. So
I think I remember what went on in this. We'll see. I don't know if I'll need to go to the wiki, but like it is like it is easy to forget a lot of stuff, because it's like I said, it's not, for me, it's memorable, but it doesn't have the plot beats that the last episode had.
That's why you mentioned pausing and taking notes.
Oh, I was taking notes on what I liked and disliked. Like, I didn't know I was supposed to do the summary this week. That's okay. I'll make it work.
Okay, ready for a countdown?
Alright, did we ever come up with, like, stopwatch or anything? I mean, it's okay if we didn't.
We've mostly just been using the one in Canva, even though it's not that great.
Okay, let me see. Because I might have to exit. Go back. I might have to exit this and then... Where is the one in Canva?
It should be on the bottom left of your screen in normal view.
Timer, I see. There we go.
Oh, it might be that each person has to pop it out on their own. I don't know.
Can I, like, move it at all?
I'm pretty sure
I think it's stuck in one spot.
Yeah, because it's off to the... Because I actually expand my stuff in order to, like, keep the dotted line behind here from showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's full screen it as well, it also doesn't show up at all, so...
Yeah.
I think I had a separate window set up last time with the Google stopwatch in it, but I was like,
yeah,
but then I'd have to re-thingy everything, so I was like, bugger it.
Yeah, we'll just do this here. Yeah, because I tried doing the Google stopwatch. Maybe there's something that I could do for later. I'll try reconfiguring something. All right. I won't have a stopwatch on right now, but I'm ready to go. I guess whenever you guys are.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh man, I already blanked. So, from my recollection, Vera, Dr. Juarez, shows up at a conference center, and all of the doctors are gone. Previously, in the previous scene, Esther and the Torchwood crew had been going through examining some of the maps and stuff that have been captured through reconnaissance and wondering how the layout is supposed to work. Vera shows up, finds out that there's been a new shift in plan from the governments of the world known as categories of life, where they've categorized life. The page that she flags down hands her a folder telling her about what's going on. So she decides to join Torchwood because she doesn't like the fact that her patients seem to be carted behind, into these camps and locked away, and no one seems to know what's going on. So she joins Torchwood. She examines the maps along with Escher and Jack Harkness, and discovers that there's these modules that are set up. They decide to infiltrate the camps after Gwen's father is taken to one of these camps. When Reese's tried to flag down the ambulance, they cart him off too late. So it's kind of settled that they're going to infiltrate this camp, or one of the camps, and figure out what's going on. In order to do so, they have Rex reveal that he's a Category 2 wounded. Bring him down to the camp where he changes his category. Escher sneaks in, swaps out his paperwork to categorize him as Category 1, which is unconscious, and who should have technically be dead, and change the clip on his jacket, or his clothing, from blue to red, from Category 2 to Category 1. Meanwhile, Escher also is working in the office, winds up working in the offices kind of during their spy game. Finds out that Colin is the head honcho that she would need to ask questions of. Vera walks in posing as an inspector to the camp. Colin takes her on a guided tour. Meanwhile, Gwen and Reese are also in the camp. Reese is supposed to be has a job kind of moving bodies to and from these modules. And then so Gwen locates her father. They try to get him into the truck to get him out of the camp. Her father has a heart attack and winds up falling unconscious and is recategorized as Category 1. And apparently nobody knows what happens to the Category 1s. Meanwhile, Vera is on this tour. She finds out that the patients are kept in terrible conditions, threatens to go to the authorities against Colin. Colin winds up shooting her, and what would have been near fatal incident, and they remove Vera secretly and put her into one of the modules. Meanwhile, Rex has been running around posing as one of the Category 1s, but he is put into one of the modules. He escapes from the module after filming how the people in there, Category 1s, are kind of stored like objects. He escapes from the module that he's been put in, and then finds out Vera's been locked into one of the other modules that has been turned on. And it turns out these modules are basically ovens for like burning the bodies alive, the people who are technically supposed to be dead but aren't. So, and that's how they planning on getting rid of all these inconvenient people for the government. So, meanwhile, what's his face, Bill Pullman's character, can't remember right now, has been holding a rally to kind of advance Fyrehart public reputation. John Barrowman or Jack Harkness. Oh my God! What is that ticking? Jack Harkness confronts him. Yeah. Yeah. So, I made it mostly, except I forgot to mention that Vera does, I know I did mention that she dies in the end, so she gets burnt up, unfortunately. So.
I don't think you mentioned any of what happened in Wales, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the heck happened in Wales. No, I mentioned that her father was carried away to...
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mm-hmm, I did mention that her father was carried away and categorized, or he was initially categorized as 2 and then became 1 after he had his heart attack when they tried to rescue him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It was the rally portions that I kind of skimmed over because, in my opinion, nothing too much happens except for the PR assistant is approached by the man in black and told that she's doing a very good job. Or excellent job, technically.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, well, you heard the timer. You did that in just over 5 minutes.
Yay!
The timer stops giving us numbers after that.
It's okay.
Oh, I forgot to flip a coin today. Let me do that quickly. All right, it comes up, Aaron. What did you like about this episode?
As soon as I can get over to my other screen, my mouse seems to be trapped here. Alright, enough of this nonsense. Get over here. Alright. So, good about the serial, I like, how the bad guys, how Fyrehart and, even the government, Fyrehart, all of the evil people involved are using apathy and ignorance to really help obfuscate everything. And that, to put it in X-Files terms, none of the workers cares to know more about what is happening around them. For example, the woman that Esther keeps talking to, she keeps turning to her, this woman is just kind of sitting there at her keyboard on her computer. She's like, I don't know anything, you're going to have to talk to the boss. And she points over to Colin Maloney. Yeah, so the woman next to Esther doesn't know why Maloney needed a car or what happened to Vera. She just kind of, doesn't seem to care. The nurse taking care of Gwen's father doesn't know what happens to Category 1 patients. Stuff that you would think that people in charge would know about. Colin himself says that he's just another cog in the wheel and that he's, just happy to be coming under budget and stuff, and it's very typical of corrupt operations from both governments and corporations. So,
or even not even fully corrupt ones, but it's kind of the danger of bureaucracy.
yeah, I was gonna point
It's
out
all just
bureaucracy
wrapped up
too.
in the trappings of like, oh, it's your day job that you don't give a shit about, and especially if you keep people from being able to care or from wanting to care, that's all it ever is to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alex, what did you like about this story?
Oh, don't forget our images, Bill.
Um,
I could not find an image of the lady that Esther was talking to.
Oh,
I don't know her name, which is part of
um,
it, but I could not find it by searching Esther undercover.
yeah.
um, hmm. I guess. Hmm. God, I feel like I had something and I've just lost it. Bloody hell. Um, well, that's weird. Like, I'm trying to think of something that isn't just a generic thing we use if we can't think of anything else, kind of a thing. But I'm probably just gonna have to default to the acting. Like, again, being fairly solid. Like, I don't think there was anyone who I thought the acting was bad in this.
Was there somebody like
Um,
especially compared to the others?
um, I guess we'll go with Bill Pullman because he's still like again. I said it in the Discord, but like, wow, this really is basically just Trump before he was running for president, isn't it? Like he's got similar hair, except it looks natural. Um, Similar look for the most part, generally. Some of his mannerisms and like the way he talks, like just the way he moves his mouth around when he's talking, kind of feels very Trump as well, which is
Yeah.
bizarre. Which like, yeah, Trump was a known public figure since like the 80s, but it's still just like this performance fits better now than it did when this aired in 2011. It's kind of weird. Like I
Except
don't know if he
I
was
think his revelation speech was more coherent than anything that 2026
right,
Trump has
yeah.
said.
Right,
Trump
yeah.
has become less coherent over the past few years,
Hmm.
but
I mean again, like this is more of a coherent thing than Trump ever would have really given in terms of like the words used and all that. But if Russell ever was interviewed and asked and said, "Oh yeah, Trump was an inspiration for that character," it would shock me. Like, again, as I said last time, I'm pretty sure like villains had already existed that were that were basically satires of Trump already.
yeah,
So
Biff Tannen.
yeah. So it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. It could have literally just been that was an acting choice from Bill Pullman
Right.
to be that he's like, well, I hate this guy, so I'll mock him. Um, which even more prescient now that with what we know about the whole Epstein shit. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, like especially that like the way he handles the speech where he's like, "Fuck, whose side am I taking in this?"
Yeah.
is like handled very well of how he starts off like a massive, like starts off unsure of himself, not sure which way to go, and then kind of figures it out as he's going along.
I think the woman that Rachel's talking to is or that Esther is talking to is Rachel. By the way, I was obsessed, so I've been searching for her.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, she only shows up like twice, so it's hard to remember names of bit characters like that.
If so, it's not the Rachel that they think I'm searching for.
Yeah, I know. I looked up the actress, and the
other
actress looks like the character.
Gotcha.
I found a list on Wikipedia under the categories of life Wikipedia page that lists the entire cast, as well as the bit characters. Played by Liz Jenkins.
Oh, yep, and she has a photo. There we go. For my own part, I think what kind of struck me about this is the way that, even though it's a serialized story, the episodes are so coherent in that, like, no, you know how sometimes they just slap a title on and any episode could have that title, or it's just like, well, we have to name the episode something, but really it's just a serialized plot. Here, like, everything that's happening is about the categories of life. Everything in the previous episode was about going to LA. So like it just feels like that was really strong organization. To have the episode kind of being so tightly around that. Although, as I say that, maybe Oswald Dane's story was not really about that, which is why he got so little screen time.
I mean, yeah, like that title feels more like they're just trying to reference Escape to New York, given that technically it's Escape to Miami, and then we also journey over to LA.
Oh, you're talking about yesterday's episode, not today's episode.
Yeah. Like Escape to LA is more Escape to...
Yeah.
God, I said Miami, but was it? Oh. Whatever that beach was anyway. And they're like, oh yeah, we have to go to LA as well.
Oh, you're saying the last time they were on Venice Beach, which is in
Venice Beach,
LA
that's
County.
it, yeah.
Yeah, so like it wasn't in Florida or anything. They were in LA, just not LA, the proper city proper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it, and maybe it's just because I couldn't come up with something more specific. But I thought it was just really effective how, like, if you've watched this season and then you say the episode, the categories of life, no one's going to be like, is that episode 5 or episode 6? It's got to be this episode.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what did you dislike about this episode?
Let me see here. I'm just going to move over to the bed, and then yay, my mouse didn't get stuck for once. I actually really hated Colin Maloney. He was a sexist kind of racist creep that, I don't think he was done bad. I just didn't like his character. Like, he was almost over the top. Like, it's not just that he's an incompetent manager who pushes the blame off onto his underlings and stuff, and forces them to do terrible things to help him out of a tight spot.
Mm.
But he's also, they also made him sexist and racist because he comments about how Vera should be used to this kind of like warm climate and stuff like that, kind of implying that her race has something to do with that. It's also kind of implied, that she's Latino, with her last name being Juarez. But I don't think it's actually defined like what her ethnicity is or anything, but he kind of makes that assumption, and also he makes the assumption that Dr. Juarez is a man, even though Vera introduces herself as Vera Juarez. So
yeah, I think that it's I would say it's not so much that he's sexist and racist, because he's, I mean, most people that they would put in, like, if they were to pick a random person who's in a comparable position in the real world and have them instead of an actor, it probably would be somebody who is sexist and racist. For this type of position. But they make him a cartoon character in those scenes you mentioned. Like, they go out of the way. They're like, we want a 2011 audience or to know that he's really sexist and really racist. So he's immediately like has all these outdated like examples of like the sexist guy who doesn't understand female doctors, and the racist guy who is so racist he can't go 5 seconds without making an immediate comment about someone's ethnicity, instead of just like being like a normal character who is racist and sexist in a normal way.
Yeah, he could do it. Yeah. They could have done it in more subtle ways. Like, all he would have to do is comment on her being a beautiful woman, or how lucky she is to have like a doctorate or something like that, or make side comments like that.
In most shows, the character like this is the one you would have like when they were to go back in time to see how bad racism really was, type thing.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is as those scenes, that first scene plays out, I'm like, sad part is there are probably a lot of people that are like this. Like,
they're basically more like cartoon characters.
The more the like recent times, the more mask off a lot of people like that are getting. The more I'm like,
I would say from around the time this aired, in most jobs, you would at least be being written up for acting like him. But then again, I say that was before the Me Too movement. So, well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It was people who were, I guess, smart enough to do things when other people couldn't see them, rather than doing it straight up in public.
Right. This was like, what, Obama's first term?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that stuff was more tamped down somewhat, a bit more low key.
It was rampant behind closed doors, but people knew not to do that in front of your employees.
Right. So yeah, it's another one of those aspects of this actually kind of hits. Better sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Like, it feels more fitting for now when we're watching it.
Aged well.
Yeah. It's sadly aged well in terms of characterization. Like, this guy definitely would have been a Trump voter.
Yeah.
3 times, or four, more than that if you count the primaries. But yeah, okay. Alex, what did you dislike about this episode?
I have 2. I'm going to hold off on one in case it doesn't come up. And the other thing I'll mention is not necessarily a problem with this episode so much as the Miracle Day overall. Why did the last episode happen? Like, really think about it. The more I thought about it, even as
the
we
last episode laid the groundwork for the camps, right? That was the one where like,
I mean,
that was the one where they made kind of like the public argument for the camps.
And what was the data they were stealing to? Wasn't that about the modules and stuff, all this stuff that they found with the maps
I
and
think
everything?
so.
Maybe. I remember they were mostly
Possibly.
trying to see
They
who
were
was pulling the strings. And
right.
then
They were
they
like
got that
they were
very
looking
little amount of
for
information.
yeah, they were trying to grab a bunch of info and and all that. But like at least I guess to hone in specifically the oh god, what's his name? Oswald or whatever.
Yep.
Oswald Danes.
Yeah. His character, that this cements it. Like last time I think we discussed that it felt like his plot felt very just turning the wheels, making it so he's still there and relevant.
Him specifically, but his rival in that episode was kind of like making the argument for the public to accept what happens in this episode.
But yeah, it's funny because he's advocating against that ultimately because he's the whole death is like dead is like, you know, dead is not dead, blah 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 blah. And he's all like, hooray for me. But then in this episode, he's just sort of like, but still massively hated again. It's like, it feels as if I
that
don't
part
even.
definitely
Like,
feels like it's treading water.
yeah, like there's very vague references to what happened with him in the last episode, but not much. Like to the point that he might as well have not been in the last. If you cut his thing from last episode, you basically are not missing anything.
But you wouldn't have to count.
No, I mean like Oswald's bit. You wouldn't really, because like he's hell. That's the weird thing is he's arguing against them.
No,
like there are elements
his
of the
rival
previous.
was the person arguing for them. If you take him out, she's
right.
gone.
But he also like took all of her like popularity away effectively in that one turnaround thing because they're already starting to turn on her because they're like, oh, he'll go into the hospital, why won't you? Kind of a thing. So she was already on the downswing. And it's just like, okay, well, wait, if that's the case, wouldn't they have like I mean, to be fair, it is the whole she's tipping their hand a bit too early.
Yeah.
But it is still just like it's a thing of like the fact that the gut reaction I had was, okay, ultimately what did we achieve last episode? Because it feels like barely anything that happened in the previous episode is really referenced. Like they have info that they didn't previously have, but that's about it. It doesn't really feel like it really does feel like the last episode was here's a few little things that we need to do and we're otherwise just spinning our wheels because we made this 10 episodes. Whereas this, it feels like as much as I remember thinking that a lot happened, then I watched this and I'm like, oh, this actually feels like more happened. As much as it is like two plots that kind of break up into like mini plots, it is kind of just like, oh no, yeah, it is two plots really because it's just the Oswald plot and the Torchwood plot.
Not Oswald's side, but on the Torchwood side, last episode is when they learned the camps existed and that they were Phi Corps. And then so if they weren't connected to Phi Corps, they might not have infiltrated them in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not part of the Oswald stuff. For like me, sorry, did you have something more to say?
I guess it's just like it would be interesting to rewatch like episode, like for me anyway, in my own time to rewatch episode 3, then skip to 5 and see if it actually still makes sense.
So for me, I'm having trouble finding an image of this unless I were to like watch a YouTube video and take a screenshot. But specifically Reese, and not that he's like a bad character, but they keep making him like the idiot of the episode. Like in last episode, Reese's job was to watch over Gwen's dad And at the end, the resolution to that was like everything's okay. They're taking them to the bad guys' camps. Which, side note, I didn't think to mention this last week. Even the real fascists know better than to call them camps.
Yeah.
So that's another example of like we need our bad guy to be a cartoon, or nobody will
Right.
understand the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah, like most of Reese's thing in both last and this is very tell him to do something. Oh, Reese, why did you do that?
yeah. So like last time, Reese had the whole thing of he's watching after the father, and then he ends up giving the father to the bad guys, and then this time his plot ends up with I was just driving people to be incinerated. But I couldn't figure that out because the plot requires me not to understand that.
Yeah, that apparently that's where they keep the burn victims or something.
Yeah, that's what
And
he
then
thought it was.
yeah. Which, to be fair, he's not Torchwood, so
Which I mean, he was physically
he
there
is supposed
when they
to.
said like the camps are
Right.
everybody who is like injured a certain
Right.
amount.
Yeah. But
Actually,
I guess
I
it's
think
a
she
thing
was
of
there
like
when they relegated Gwen's dad to Category 1, so he knows Category 1 is not all burn victims.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It did make me wonder, like, at what point is cremating the best option? But in the end, I'm pretty sure, as far as they understand of the miracle, is that they're all still conscious after being cremated.
Right.
In which case, cremating them is probably not the human solution.
I mean, I think it's mostly just not humane because even if it does work, you are burning people alive, so it's still fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, so yeah, well, I mean, so I guess what I was thinking, like, let's say they filled the room with gas, everyone was unconscious, everyone was immune from pain, and then burned them. The problem is we're in a magical state where their mind is still working after you cremate them.
Would it?
So I think
Would
that's
it
the bad
still?
part.
I mean, would it still be
That's the big
functioning after
question.
it's turned to ash? Because I think
'Cause,
the
like,
idea is, to me, it comes off as like, and maybe this will get explained in like a future episode, but it feels like the idea is burning them as their way of getting rid of them, and this is like, well, we figured out that this is a way for them to
from a
die, to
resources and
actually get
space
them to die.
perspective, yes. From a perspective, and I mean, and we already know, like, right, they're not putting people to sleep. They're not filling the room with gas.
Right.
They're not even checking to make sure you don't have a pulse first. If you're inconvenient, they burn you. So we know they're not.
Yeah.
It's not for humane reasons. But I kind of wondered if they were doing all the legwork. Do we have any way of knowing if it's the humane option? And at the moment, I think the big thing is, because this is supernaturally involved, we really would never know which was the more humane option.
Yeah.
Because like, if my choice was to live with an agonizing permanent wound that will never go away and never die, and while like there were some people in the previous episodes, like, they lost all their limbs, they were basically just a nervous system connected to permanently agonized skin. They couldn't speak, they could only think, and they couldn't think, they couldn't speak, they couldn't see, they couldn't, all they could do is feel pain and exist in their own head. And I think those are often the types of situations that medical euthanasia is intended for, even when it's not being over pushed, which is a separate issue.
Yeah.
So it's like, a medical euthanasia equivalent could work, unless they're just going to be sand that, once again, cannot see, cannot move, but is just living forever, which we have enough reason to think might be the case. I don't know why I said sand. When you're cremated, you don't turn into sand.
Ash.
But
But would the ash be sentient?
That's basically it. That's the question. It seems like maybe that's true, but it maybe not either. Like, we don't know how many pieces of life are needed to still be life. In the end, this is a supernatural thing. We've already experienced everything with Jack to know that the rules of biology don't apply when you have supernatural life energy involved. So it's all questions. If anyone would know, it would be Jack, and I don't know if he's ever been cremated before.
Well, he has been. Well, he's been blown up. Remember, he had to regrow his body in was it Children of Earth? They put him in. He was in that kind of stone tomb like place. I've only seen Children of Earth once.
Mm.
And
If it wasn't that, it
or
was
that at the end
definitely.
of season 2 or series
It
2?
might
It
have been
might
the
have
end of
been. I
season
forget.
2.
Yeah.
I remember he had to
been longer
regrow
since
his
I watched
entire
it.
body at one point.
Got you.
Mm.
Which definitely does not happen to people in Miracle Day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I guess just to quickly mention the other thing, my second thing that I just didn't bring up in case it was taken, killing off Juarez just felt like, oh, that feels like a waste of a character.
Yeah, it felt like they did it because she was becoming inconvenient as a character. Like, oh, this person is
Like
too
she was there to help
smart.
them set up the camps, and then they're like, no, we
Yeah.
can get her out of the plot.
I have another thing
Yeah.
too about Vera, in that she kind of bounces between wanting to be a member of Torchwood and not commenting that she isn't a member.
I don't think she ever wanted to be a member of Torchwood.
Oh,
Yeah. I think
when
she just kind of.
I thought
Yeah,
when
she-
Jack
she ma-
fist bumped her, she was like a little bit more
Hmm.
accepting of it or something.
Yeah. I think she just jokingly asks, does this make me a member of Torchwood now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he says, welcome to the team, and she's like, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite scenes, Aaron?
All right, let me get us onto the... Where's my mouse? Why is my mouse not showing up? There we go. Boing.
I don't know about you. I've had the issue of so many apps like Google Docs. My mouse will disappear and not come back.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when I'm working with R, that'll happen. And everything I've seen is like, oh, it's this issue, this setting in Windows. That setting doesn't exist. It's this setting in something else. That setting doesn't exist. It's the unshittification of the internet, but extended to the entire computer. Anyway.
I think going on with the whole bureaucracy thing, I like the scene where Esther is okay with changing Rex's paperwork to set him as category 1, but then when she has to change the clip on his clothing from blue to red, she hesitates. And it kind of goes along with the theme, kind of like with what we were experiencing with Vera, that it's easy to flip paperwork around when you don't have to actually see, what you're doing. It's easy to kind of categorize people and try to get them, with Vera when she was trying to get them kind of documented basically, and that, but she wasn't willing to kind of do a lot to sit around and make sure that they were comforted. She just wanted to make sure everyone was accounted for. Well, here we have again Esther, who is okay with handling the documentation, but when she has to actually condemn Rex to category 1, she's uncomfortable with it. So, and that's kind of goes hand in hand with kind of the real world bureaucracy of the American healthcare system here, especially. Possibly also a mention of the British healthcare system of seeing people as paperwork instead of as people in need of medical attention. So.
Yeah, definitely good points. I don't have anything to add to that.
My cat is attacking my feet. Ouch.
Alex, favorite scene?
Aside from it sounding like they blow the mic out at one point, I'm gonna go with Gwen storming in and getting into that argument with the army guy. um, at the camp in Wales.
The one where she demands to speak to the manager.
Yeah, because like it does sound like like I don't know if it's just me, but on my end it sounds like she's kind of blowing out the mic or something. Whereas the other guy sounds like mic sound like the whatever like broom mic whatever they're using for the
Gotcha.
other guy sounds fine. So that was kind of funny, but otherwise it's just like having to basically get pulled back so she doesn't get arrested in that. But it was interesting because like because Torchwood was always an underground thing, even if their name wasn't in the mud, she's just having to like try to get through on force of personality alone rather than being able to use I'm with Torchwood as leverage
Yeah,
because that would just get her arrested.
I was really mixed on that because like she's part of a clandestine organization and plans to sneak in and break
Mm.
him out. But she's like, before that, let me make sure that they know somebody is planning to take this patient and make sure they're as on as high alert as possible. And I mean, and I think the result
Well,
is
evidently
really
not,
that
I guess.
like they're not on high alert because they don't give a shit about any of these people, which they don't even
Right.
see as people.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that. They
So,
probably
like,
want
that's
her to take him so that they don't have to deal with him.
right. So like in the end, they couldn't give two shits about whether she was planning to come take him or not. But like in any other situation, she basically just guaranteed that it would be impossible to free him.
Mm.
Uh, or maybe that's the irony of the episode of like, yeah, she did everything wrong. She got what she wanted, and then failed because she didn't have the means to sustain, a heart attack victim on her own, and
Mm.
had to call them back for help.
Yeah.
Uh, I could not find any image to paste there. Sorry. For myself, and I'm going to say like as much as like, yeah, I mean, I definitely would rather see them do more interesting things with the character. But if the scene had to happen, I think the whole Vera death scene was handled perfectly. The acting was amazing. Like that, having Rex there and like his recon mission turned into recording his friend, lover die because
Mm.
she wanted to be an active part of the solution, and then became a victim because of that asshole who is probably not going to face any consequences, at least not of a
Mm-hmm.
normal sort. uh you know so there's all of the irony involved. There's the fact that like Rex is completely I mean, he's documenting it, but it's almost like it doesn't matter anymore because unless did they give any indication that his you know 2010s camcorder was connected to the internet at all, or like
No.
even if
It is
No.
it
with
is
alien Wi-Fi?
seemingly seemingly it's a matter of he will have to actually be able to get
Right.
out.
So he's recording this, but by the time he's done recording, everybody already knows the same thing he knows. But he also had to
Mm.
be there to see Vera die in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the idea is if they can keep that video camera safe, he'll have proof
True,
Mm-hmm.
true.
Yeah, if it's on
that he
an
can
SD
leak.
card or something.
But I'm just
Yeah.
kind of thinking of the tragedy of it all. Um,
Yeah.
that it's possible they could have skipped that entire mission, or I think, or I don't know if did Esther get the information, or because
Hmm.
I
maybe
mean,
I was a little fuzzy about that at the end. Like Gwen seemed to
Gwen
know as
figures it
soon as Reese.
out.
Yeah. So like, did
Yeah.
Gwen just figure it out because of what Reese said, which goes back to the
Yeah.
point like that makes Reese extra dumb if that's all the information Gwen
Mm.
needed, but Reese had the same information. Or
Well,
like,
he
did
had
Esther
some
call
info, but
her
not
and tell
everything.
her,
Mm. I think
But
because she
ultimately,
is
yeah,
trying to.
either way, it's a character-driven tragedy. She
Mm.
didn't have to be in the room, but she wanted to feel useful and forced herself to be in the room. And
Mm.
even to the point of like, I think nobody, well, I won't say nobody in Torchwood or the CIA would be dumb enough to go off on the guy for being a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Mm.
they would at least be prepared for him to try to kill them. Now, granted, Torchwood in 4 seasons, their number one defining trait has been lack of competence. So
Mm.
they might have gotten shot anyway, but it would
Yeah.
have gone better than this person who has not been field tested at all being shot.
Yeah. And even to that end, the asshole that shot her still obviously being like not a complete unrepentant asshole in how it looks like he's still affected by what he's done and what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
which
But he's perfectly fine
feels
grabbing another
more,
person. Like, you're
yeah,
my accomplice now.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
taking
yeah.
you
Like,
down if anything happens to me.
right, like it still feels more like, as much as we like ripped on him for being so cartoonish, that does feel more real.
Mm-hmm.
That like, as much as he's like, fuck, I need, because it's like, even if it's just a matter of fuck, I need to cover this up, he's probably like, fuck, what am I doing? Why did I do that?
He's reacting out of fear.
Like, yeah. But it is a matter of like, yeah, it's not even that I think he's like remorseful for what he did, but just the fact that it's like, oh fuck, why did I let myself do that?
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got to cover this up. If anyone finds out, I'm fucked.
Yeah,
Kind
'cause
of a
he
thing.
does actually come off as a selfish prick too. So
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
I'm
like
just
that
imagining, like, if this were an
reaction.
episode of Classic Who, that soldier that he stole the gun off would have been like, no, I'm not letting you. You know, he would have grabbed Colin, and then they would have jumped into the module with him, so that they got cremated too, or something.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure
That'll just.
Classic Who would have ever gone quite as
Mm.
dark as the very
Oh
premise
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
story, though. So that's but
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
beside the
yeah.
point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess depending on the era, if you get rid of the fact that people can't die at the moment, he at the very least probably would have shot the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do have a runner-up for best scene.
Okay.
It's the whole "you take care of him, that crazy boyfriend of mine" when they're wheeling
Yes.
away Rex, and then
I
Rex
completely
flips him
forgot
off.
about that because I watched that a day or two ago, and then I watched the rest of like I watched a third of the episode, I think, on Thursday, and then the other 2/3 of the episode today. It definitely doesn't feel like, once the bad shit starts happening, it feels like a whole new episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to our least favorite scenes.
Okay. All right, least favorite scene for me. I'm going to say there was one kind of awkward scene between Esther and Jack where their kind of playfulness feels a bit forced. Like it was kind of weird, kind of awkward, like, and not in like a natural, like, these characters are just naturally awkward around each other. But like it felt like the actors themselves were somewhat awkward around each other. Not the scene where they're walking on the beach, but this is the one where Esther is leaving with Vera to, I think, go to the
Yeah,
camp,
so the
and Jack is kind of waving
yeah,
them off.
the whole all I get is a kiss thing.
Yeah, it felt kind of weird. I don't know. Like, and
Yeah.
I
I mean,
liked,
it's kind of awkwardly written with the whole your category Jack and all this. It's just like
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm blocked out most of the dialogue because I can't remember exactly what was said. But like, I liked their conversation on the beach about how she's like confessing to him about how she feels useless, and he's like, "Nah, you're not used to this kind of thing, this being thrown into this like this or something."
That was the one, like, everybody feels that way. It's just who hides it the best.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I can't find a photo of that other scene, so that's the best you're getting.
Okay. But yeah, it was just it was weird. Like, I kind of wish that they had reshot or rewritten that. So it felt forced, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, Alex.
Um. Ooh. Ooh, what was there other than that? One I almost was gonna go with, but I'm like, character-wise, that does actually make sense, so I don't know if I can go with it. Um, honestly, I'll go with. I'll put it this way: there are two I can use that get the same point across, but I'll go with. Oh my god, we were literally just talking about her, and I've already forgot her name. Esther, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like her in the like little office, like trying to get info out of that other woman. I'm like, could you be any less conspicuous?
It's a good thing Rachel just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that
Yeah.
that kind of ties in a lot to with what I was just saying about Gwen, except actually what I
Mm,
was saying about Gwen and what I was saying about Vera, with the big exception that Gwen is both an ex-cop and a Torchwood field agent. So
right.
she has less excuse than any of them. Um but yeah, with Reese, Vera, and Esther all had knowing nothing about being in the field.
Mm. Yeah, like the other like yeah, the sort of scene that I mean was like the other one that kind of goes along with that is like when Gwen is doing the break-in and like is just power walking through that hallway, through those corridors and tents and whatever, and is just looking really suspicious. Just constantly looking around and all that to see if she's getting followed and check to make sure she sees where her dad is. It's like that is the least conspicuous she could have done that.
I mean the most conspicuous.
Yeah, most conspicuous. Yeah, it's the most conspicuous she could have done that by just instead of like walking through very calmly, like just looking over all the beds. If she was walking at a normal pace, like the only reason I can think of that she's power walking is because like she went there beforehand. So they technically, if they could be asked, and if she runs into that same army dude again, he'd be like, "Oh, it's you." Whereas she doesn't, so it's like, because it's like that old like adage of like pretend like if you look like you belong there, you can like get away with it, kind of a thing. You have to just blend in and just look like you should be there. Um, but then you can usually bullshit this kind of thing in media and probably in real life if you go back far enough.
Yeah, it's
Be a
funny.
lot
The
less.
doctor's rule has always kind of been show up and act like you know what you're doing and nobody will question you.
Mm,
And what they
yeah.
like to do is show up and act like they don't know what they're doing and nobody still questions them.
Yeah. Um, like Esther at least bullshits a bit okay of like, oh, I'm still getting used to this system. They didn't really brief me
Yeah.
properly. It's like that. Yeah, that's like kind of thingo. But the fact that she's immediately like only just sat down and is immediately like, hey, I need to get info out of you is like, come on.
Like when you keep obviously asking about the top secret thing that nobody wants to talk about, you
Yeah.
draw attention to yourself.
Yeah. Like as Aaron said, it's lucky that the other woman just was checked out.
So it feels like a cop out to me because it's not really a substantive scene, but that's why it irks me so much. There's the scene where Oswald, he had just been arguing with Jilly about like, oh, they're not letting him have a dressing room because he's a sex offender or a killer or both, and pretty much we're gonna say both, and then he chases after Jack, which is not my problem. And then it seems I'm pretty sure nothing happens that first time. And then we next see him like sulking in the hallway, like basically like not even willing to talk to Chili. And you just like he glares at the camera at one point, and then that's it until it's basically set up for Chili to get approached by the mysterious guy, and then for Oswald to go follow Jack again. But it's like that scene at that moment is just like, what the fuck is supposed to be happening? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe they are doing the like, well, Trump is a 2-year-old, so we're gonna make Oswald into a 2-year-old too. But I don't know. Like it just felt more like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Mm.
Also, I feel like if you're like a famous person, and you're pulling strings to make sure this like weird this sex offender murderer guy is not able to get a dressing room near you, I'd think
Mm.
your security would be present enough in that hallway to make sure that he wasn't just sitting on a chair sulking in the same hallway, because
Yeah.
otherwise that defeats the purpose.
Right.
Like now he's still there, but his only option is to barge into other people's dressing rooms.
Mm.
Not unlike somebody else, so I'm gonna stop mentioning.
Mm.
All right, final thoughts.
Not a thought in my head. No. I've actually gone through and kind of this rewatch of Miracle Days kind of helped me kind of re-examine the Miracle Day series. So I know when it came out, I was really kind of up and down about it. I liked it better than Children of Earth, but it was still a bit of a disappointment for me, especially towards the end. But it's kind of episodes like this where you have a really action-packed episode, and then you have like a big kind of story-heavy one like this with a lot of like subterfuge and like sneaking around and stuff that kind of it felt very uneven to me as a series. So but it's not as bad as I remember it. So I there's a lot of scenes that I remember from Miracle Day as well. For example, the woman getting crushed into a car in last episode, and then in this episode, of course, it's Vera's death that really just sticks with you, and the fact that Rex, is kind of forces himself to film it so that the world can see what's going on eventually, anyway. So, yeah, I think while a lot of stuff doesn't happen, or it feels like this isn't a very action packed episode, there's still quite a few things that happen in it, and it still pushes the story forward a bit. I still like. I'm not really big on the whole Oswald Danes storyline. It's a
Mm.
lot more intriguing to learn about the camps and like learn about how they're going to stop the camps and everything, and then just kind of like not have to deal with Oswald Danes ever again. I kind of wish that he had been written out of the series like earlier so that we could focus on the interesting intrigue of that's going on with all these countries and Ficor and stuff. Um so yeah, that's those are my thoughts.
Mm.
I have the memory of like a goldfish who was put through a sieve. So I have a response to that, but I'm trying to save it for mine. So if I don't comment on Oswald, yell at me.
um yeah, for me this feels like, I mean, I remember saying like last time that last episode did make me want to watch this, so it's funny that it took me as long as it did to finally do so. um but yeah, like I enjoyed this. There were a bit like, again, killing off Juarez was like, oh, what the fuck? That feels like a waste. Especially like the scene that I like toyed with going for worst scene was like when she gets shot initially, because it feels like well, this is coming out of fucking nowhere. But at the same time, it feels in character for this piece of shit to just randomly do that because he's having his masculinity challenged. Um, but like, it's just, you know, it's so like, well, we need to write her off. I guess we'll just have this asshole shooter. Um, and like the army dude who I guess never got any actual training to be a disciplined soldier is just allowing this to happen. Um, so, you know, that's a bit weird. But other than that, like, and again, like the Oswald stuff, I do like, again, it's mostly just Bill Pullman's acting that's keeping me going with it. But this is the most I was like, okay, here he's made his choice of like, he's kind of given an out by Jack, but ultimately, understandably, when it's like Jack can maybe help him somehow versus this fucking mega corporation who's probably got, you know, um, people everywhere because he's looked into them and realized, oh, this is way above whatever I thought it was. Like, kind of understandable that he'd be like, nah, screw you, I'm going with them. Because they will fuck me up a lot if I try to defy them. Like, it could read that into him, like, realizing that they probably got rid of the woman from last time. Um, Even though I don't think it's directly mentioned in his presence that she's just kind of gone missing. Um,
She's canceled her appearances, is the part that's been mentioned to him.
yeah. Which he could easily just take as, haha, I win.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh shit, they killed her. But yeah, it's like that plot is very much okay, where's this going? Whereas the Torchwood, like, generally I feel like I'm just glad that, like, after 3 episodes of stalling, it kind of feeling like that between last episode and this episode, it's like, okay, things are actually moving now. Because like it does kind of feel like that's a problem with this being 10 episodes. It's like, obviously there's gonna have to be setup, but the fact that it takes until like episode 4 before it feels like things are really moving is a bit weird. But I'm glad that things still feel like they're moving at least. Um, Again, as I said, the acting's good. Um, Although one other thing I forgot to mention is the last episode. There's a sort of next time on Torchwood thing, and it's like Gwen in a black room, just or like in front of like basically in front of a green screen that's black, and being like as if she's recording an apology for like we didn't know what we were doing, we were in over our heads, blah 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 blah. And where was that?
Yeah.
Was that for this, or was that foreshadowing for something several episodes from now? Like,
Yeah,
what the
maybe it was
hell?
a cut just for the trailer.
Maybe because it feels like usually they're good about next. It'll be like this happens next episode, so it's a bit weird that that might be like several episodes away, if at all. Or it's like maybe they decided to cut it, whatever that was, after the fact, or something. I don't know. That was
Yeah, and
weird.
it's like they were trying to do like a was The Office on it when this aired?
Uh, 2011 probably.
So yeah, I think they were trying to do that sort of thing of the like, oh yeah, Office started in 2005 apparently, and I just didn't hear. Oh,
Hmm.
Wait, which version of? Oh yeah, it's the U.S. version. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess they were just trying to do that of the whole like the audience expects the cast to talk to the camera, so we're gonna have the cast do talk to the camera. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that actually made it into the episode.
Mm.
Hmm. Maybe it's like a following episode type thing.
Yeah, like all I can think of is maybe, and it might even be as simple as like the someone in the editing room fucked up, and that was actually supposed to be the tease for a future episode, but they accidentally plopped it onto that last episode instead.
Right. I can't find any mention of it on TARDIS.wiki, so it
Hmm.
doesn't seem like anybody knows, at least has looked into and reported what the deal behind that is.
Yeah. So at best, your suggestion's probably right, where it might have just been something purely shot for like a trailer thing, and then they just slapped it on the end of last episode. Um, for some reason.
Maybe we'll see it
Uh.
in a future episode.
Hmm.
So at this point of the series, so basically the first two episodes are spent setting up the problem. I think I want to say episode 7 through 10 is where it kind of like really shifts into the like here's what the cause is and dealing with it. I could be wrong, but I think that's when that kind of stuff starts happening and you start to deal with like that. So we're in the part of the story which is basically just every episode shit gets worse. So on that, in that perspective, it's kind of hard to feel like things are happening. But I also know like that's really important to storytelling. So that might be, especially now when like
Hmm.
we're used to 6 episode seasons, 8 episode seasons. Maybe from a modern perspective, Miracle Day does seem really long, even though it's really short for a Torchwood season.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so that is interesting in terms of interpreting, because it does kind of like from a main character's perspective, it feels like the story is treading water. But from a like the world is going to shit, and we can't keep calling this a good thing because we're seeing all of the bad things that happen because of it.
Hmm.
We know that it's not a great, it's not a miracle. It's hell on earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Otherwise, I mean, I think this was definitely a great way to show that the stakes are bad. Um, I don't know if I would have necessarily gone straight to they're cremating everybody the day after the camps are set up, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's better than dragging it out.
Hmm.
The Vera thing, I do kind of wish like we got some more time with her. It does, it's killing her off really does feel like it was like we didn't know what to do with her and had to write her
Mm-hmm.
out sort of
Hmm.
thing. Um, but like especially like she's the character who comes in and she was like, I set up these camps. Like that could have been a really interesting dynamic if they kept her around.
Yeah, it could have been like
Yeah.
it could have coupled with Reese's like realization of, oh my god, I'm bringing people to ovens.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm part of the problem.
right.
Yeah.
And so for Oswald, I'm pretty sure they needed Oswald in the sense of if you take him away, there is no bad guy. There are
Mm-hmm.
bad things
Hmm.
happening, but you never see a face.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of just like in Children of Earth, the bad guy was Frobisher. Um,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, like where he's not causing the problem, but he's the face that we can pin the he's the guy that we
Yeah.
can be
Yeah.
like, fuck you when we see him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess in Children of Earth, it would have been Jack otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty much.
so, like, I think they felt it was really important for this serialized story to have a bad guy you can look at.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, it's just the heroes running around and bad things happening. At least here,
Yeah.
whenever Oswald comes on screen, we can flip off the screen. Um,
Yeah.
but there's no like we don't actually meet anybody who's in charge yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
they didn't. I don't think they wanted us to wait until I don't know, maybe episode 9, episode 7, maybe episode 6 before there was actually like a bad guy that we can look in the eye.
It's
Yeah.
also very true of like American cinema and TV shows where they prefer to have like a face to the evil.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
I it'd be interesting comparing this to British cinema, but I know especially American culture is very much like the American public doesn't like talking about systems, doesn't like talking about entities like corporations and things like that. Organizations, that's what I should be saying.
Yeah.
They like being able to look at a person and saying this person is the cause of the problem, this person is the solution to the problem, and so forth. So
Mm.
yeah, so especially in the American Torchwood season, you would expect that it's very clear Oswald Danes is not the cause of the problem, but he is a face that we can look at and associate with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right, ratings.
Our final thoughts have no pictures.
They
It's
seemed a
okay.
bit
It's an
abstract to
abstract.
me. I don't know, especially considering
Yeah,
how
yeah.
hard it was to find pictures of some of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah, what so Aaron, what how do you rate the categories of life?
Not as high as last time, but I'll still give it just because it reveals a big kind of plot point. You know, we've got the camps and we have the ovens and we have, a buildup of the kind of melees of bureaucracy and we do see a confrontation between Oswald and Jack, and we've got a spammer in the chat.
Yes, we do. I saw that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
There we go. Um, Thanks for joining us at the
all
last minute,
it's all
man.
the chat that we get lately.
Well, my
Mm.
brother was watching us,
Okay, I don't think he
but
chatted.
he had seen like way like a while ago. He had been chatting with us a little bit,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
like
A few episodes
army
ago,
bro
yeah,
or something like that, or
but
army
not
boy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. I thought you
Yeah.
meant today.
No, no, not today. Like months and months ago, I think he was chatting with
Right?
us.
Yeah, I
So,
remember that.
all right. So yeah, I would give it a 3.5, but it feels like there's too much important things that happen here. We got the death of Vera. We've got Rex actually seems to kind of grow a little bit. He's got to kind of sober up and take things seriously. It feels like, whereas it feels like before he was just kind of playing at the role of being CIA agent, like Jack, hints at with Esther. So I'm going to say instead of a 3.5, I'd give it a 4.0.
Okay, Alex.
Oh, this is one where I'm like, is this on par with, or is it slightly further down? Hmm. Honestly, at least for the moment, and this could change. I think I'll just give this the same as last time, so 4.5.
4.5. Okay, really, really positive.
Hmm. A lot
For
of that
me,
is on the strength of the acting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
okay. For me, I'm gonna say I'm kind of in there with Aaron. Of I was debating 3.5 or 4.0, and then I remember during the review, like it was easy for me to come up with things I liked, and a lot harder for me to come up with things I didn't like. I'm gonna say 4.0. So yeah, Miracle Day is looking higher than expected in general at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But so our average is 4.17 with two 4.0s and a 4.5. If we go to the ranking, oh, I guess I need to actually enter them into both documents to get. Oh, damn it! I'm just gonna go. Yeah. So if I were to enter it into the rankings, it is around the area of. Come on. 173 through 188. It is on par with Canine Ouroboros, K9 Black Hunger, K9 the Cambridge Spy, Class Night Visiting. Make sure, I think we've labeled all the Torchwood episodes properly, but just to be safe. Was there a Doctor Who episode named Redacted? Or because we haven't done the whole Redacted show. What is? Now I have to 1 second.
I think it's redacted.
I think
it's season one.
Was that Redacted season 1 as a review?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because we ended up redoing it in a thing where we, rather than doing each individually, we split it. In
Yeah,
like
but we haven't done the second
1 to 5.
series, right?
I don't think so. No, I think we've only done the first one.
Okay, I've updated it in our rankings to say Redacted Series 1. It is not as good as Sarah Jane Adventures: The Curse of Clyde Langer, Torchwood Reset, Sarah Jane Adventures: The Vault of Secrets, Sarah Jane Adventures: Person of the Jadoon, Sarah Jane Adventures: Day of the Clown. Am I done with the 4.25s yet? Yes. And this episode is better than Torchwood Sleeper, Torchwood The New World, which was part of this season, Torchwood End of Days. So far, based on that, this may not be the worst Torchwood season.
Which is funny because I remember it being dreaded that we'd get to it eventually. So
it's definitely been known in the fandom as the worst season since it aired. Which that might be because of the lack of Yanto and Owen and Tosh.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, it does have a rough start. I remember really not liking the opening stretch. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it goes more from investigation. I mean, it's still an investigation, but it becomes more action oriented.
2 episodes have been undercover.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's less like sci-fi variety and more just like we're just this one bleak story for 10 episodes in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right, so let us know in this week's comment what you thought of this week's episode if you've watched it. Don't forget to like the video if you've listened this far. And subscribe on YouTube to get our exports, or follow us on Twitch or Twitter to get notified when we stream. Although I completely forgot to tweet today because we started an hour late, which was at least partially my fault. Next time, we continue looking at Miracle Day with The Middlemen, written by John Shiban and starring John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness, Eve Miles as Gwen Cooper, Kai Owen as Reese Williams, Mekhi Phifer as Rex Matheson, and Alex Havens as Esther Drummond. And I guess we're not adding Vera Juarez to the Torchwood crew. We'll see you then.
Oh, I mean, she is dead now, so.